everyone, this is teacher Sophia and this is class Esl1B. Today we're going to see lesson 53. So for today's class we have language log pages 50 and 53. So today we're going to review. Then we have reading log on page 68. So, before we start the class, I want to show you guys a video.
This is a wonderful house.
Those are our parents.
Oh my! This photograph is in color. Who's this beautiful lady?
That's our great-great-grandmother. Her name is Sophie. She's from England.
Her hair is blonde and her eyes are blue. See? Just like mine.
And that's her trunk in the attic.
They're our grandparents.
You have a great family. What's this? Is it a mirror?
No, it's a television.
Our friends are here.
Captain, these are our best friends, Lynn and Adam.
A pleasure to meet you, Lynn and Adam. What's that?
That's a smartphone. It's a telephone without wires.
I have one too. Look, that's my baby brother.
So, you have photographs in that smartphone? Alexander Graham Bell is a genius.
You know about telephones?
Well, I do read a lot.
Where's your family, Captain?
Okay, so guys, after we watch the video, we're going to review our language log, pages 50 to 53. So first, let's go to page 50 to start with. So, after we watch the video, we have here our characters that were shown in the video. Number 1, we had great-great-grandmother. Number 2, we had parents, mom and dad. Number 3, grandparents, grandmother and grandfather. And in your book on page 50, right here, we have 3 different pictures. So we need to recognize which one is 1, 2, and 3. The first picture I see shows me Sophie. Sophie was Matt and Maddie, great-great-grandmother. So number 1 is on the first picture. The second picture shows their grandparents. So grandparents, number 3. And the third picture shows me their parents. So their parents are on number 2. Okay, so after we complete number 1, let's go to number 2. I know you guys have done this with me in your class, but we're going to review. Here says Number 2, choose and draw your family members and write their names. So here, number 2, grandparents. We need to choose, do you want to draw grandmother or do you want to draw grandfather? You can circle the one that you want to draw. So here, get here. So let's say maybe I want to draw my grandmother, the girl, right? So I will choose grandmother. I know many of you might not know your grandmother's name. So remember, we changed it in class and we're going to write an adjective that describes my grandmother. So, my grandmother is, let's choose an adjective, okay? Because we don't know their English names. So, my grandmother is beautiful. And I want you guys to check if you draw your grandmother here, okay? And don't forget to circle if you haven't yet. After that, we have another square here. We need to draw our parents, okay? So maybe I will choose my father this time. So I will draw my father here, and I will talk about him with one adjective. So my father is nice. Okay, and the last one, we're going to talk about siblings. Remember siblings? Brothers and sisters. If you have a brother, you can choose a brother. If you have a sister, you can choose a sister. If you don't have siblings, you just don't write anything, okay? So for me, for example, I don't have brothers. So I'm going to talk about my sister. So here, I will circle sister. My sister is tall. So here, I will choose the adjective tall to talk about my sister. Okay? And right here, I will draw her. How does she look like? Okay, still on page 50, here we have our family members. So, remember that we have, I told you in class that we have 3 different groups for family members. So I like to do it like a family tree. So a family tree. Okay, you imagine a tree. So we got like this. You can do it at home if you want to describe your family like this. So inside our family tree, we're going to talk about 3 different groups. So the first group will be my grandparents. The second group is going to be parents. Now the third group is going to be siblings. So, grandparents, grandfather, grandmother. Number 2, parents, mother and father. Siblings, we have brothers and sisters together. So this is how I call the 3 groups for a family tree. Okay, so for example, I would say in grandparents, I can say like my grandfather or my grandpa and my grandma. Okay, like this. Okay, now let's move on to page 51, and here to do the reading for you guys, and then we're going to do sentences together. So number 1, listen and follow. That's my family. I have 4 brothers. They're loud. You have a big family. I don't have any brothers or sisters. Is it quiet in your house? No, it isn't. These are older dogs. Wow, so many dogs. So you can have a big family or you can have a small family. Now let's talk about describing my family with the verb have. Going to use the verb have. Remember that we have and has. They mean the same thing, but when do I use have? When do I use has? So let's review. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Okay, so I have. You have. He. Now, these 3, I will use has. He has. She has. It has. Only for this 3. Remember, he, she, it. Only this 3 will use has. We have. They have. Okay, good. Now I can talk about my family. In my case, I would say I have 2 sisters. Okay, so this is how describing my family will look like. I have 1 dog, like it's part of my family, right? Now we're going to talk about things that we don't have in our families. So this is what we do have. This is what we don't. So now we're going to change it. So pay attention, because here we're going to say I don't have. You don't have. Remember, he, she, it are special ones. So again, here they're going to be special ones. So we're going to use a different one. So for here we use doesn't have. No more has. Doesn't have. You see? We changed it here. But we're still going to use have for this one. She doesn't have. It doesn't have. We don't have. And they don't have. So you guys see, again, the 3 of them here, has, and here. That's the only difference, that when you use your pronouns, you need to know when you use have, when you use has. They mean the same thing, but we need to look at the pronouns. Okay, for example, I don't have brothers, so I can say I have 2 sisters. I don't have any brothers. It's only 2 sisters and me. Okay, now let's move on to pets. Family pets. The family pets are the animals that can live with me in my house. For example, a lion. No, lion can't live in my house. It's so big, right? So that's not a family pet. What's a family pet? Is like a friendly animal that I can have it in my house. Like bird, cat, dog, fish, frog, mouse, rabbit. So again, for describing which family pets there are in my family, I can use the verb have. So now I'm going to describe my family. I have two, it's an animal pet that I have in my house. I have two dogs. Don't forget to add the S at the end when you have more than one. So if you have more than one, dogs, cats, birds, with the S at the end. Also we have the fish, stays like this. You can say one fish or you can say like 3 fish. We don't need to put S again. Frogs. We need to put the S at the end. Mouse, we say one mouse, but when we have 2 or even more, we would say, so one mouse here, but when we have plural, we say 3 mice. Okay, so we change it to mice. And the rabbit, just need to add S when you have more than one. Rabbits with the S. Okay, so number 2. What else does the boy say? Look and write. So according to what I just read for you, we're going to use this information and fill in. She, the girl, she doesn't have any dogs. So number 1, she doesn't have, to erase here, she doesn't have any dogs. 0 dogs. Number 2, she's the one that has 4 brothers, a big family. So she has a big family. Number 3. Now the boy is talking about himself, and he is going to use I, pronoun I here. Number 3. Does he have a big family or a small family? He has a small family. No brothers, no sisters. So I don't have. I don't have a big family. Number 4, last one. A lot of dogs. Yes, we see in the picture they have a lot of dogs. We have a lot of dogs. 4 dogs. Okay. So, let's move on to this, that, these, and those. I like to make a chart for you guys because it's like a window. And here we're going to write this, these, that, those. So this we use when we talk about one. So only about one person, one object, one animal. So this is. Same with that. When we only talk about one thing, okay? So that is. This, when we talk about more than one, 2, 3, 4, a lot. So we're going to use are. So 2, 3, 4, more. Those, the same. When we talk about more than one. So we're going to use those are. 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, so now what is the difference between these, that, and those? So now we need to check far and near. Far, near. So this, for example, I'm going to talk about markers. They are near. They're very near me. But if I leave these markers here and I move, I am far. So when I use this, let's talk about near objects. Near, it's near me. When I use these, same, they are near. When we use that, they are far. So, far. And those objects are far. So remember, this near, this is. These are near again, but more than one. That is far. An object that is far, but only one object. Those are objects that are far and more than one object. 2, 3, or 4. So I can say this is a marker. Marker is near. Now we got 2 markers. You guys see? And I can say these are 2 markers. Now I will leave this marker far. So I say that is a marker. Those are markers. Okay? So, very good. Now let's move on to page 52. So, I want you guys to do the reading at home again. I want you to read Grandfather's Carrot. Remember that they have this huge carrot that they couldn't take it out, and they needed the whole family to help because only one person couldn't do it alone. So we needed grandparents, and our siblings. Okay, so just remember that we learned about four words. So we had to start with first, then we've got next, we've got then, and to end with, we had finally. Okay, very good. Now, let's move on to page 53. And here, You guys, here we have pictures of different families as well. We have big families, we have small families, right? So here, we gotta talk about how many siblings and their parents. Okay, so I think we did this together when we were listening to 28, okay? So we're gonna listen to 28 at home. And number 1, they talk about their families. You can tell it by looking at the pictures, right? So, okay, so on page 53, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different families. Remember, all these families were like, one was big, another one was small, others lived with grandma, others lived with their father. So, all of them talk about their families. We can tell that by looking at these pictures. When you're describing your family, don't forget to use have. If you are describing your friend's family, for example, a girl's family, we're going to use has. So for example, I would say like, I have sisters. But if I'm going to talk about Amy is a she, so Amy has 2 brothers. So like this, we're describing with the verb have and has. And also for family pets. I have frogs. She has cats. So always using verb have. Okay? So now let's move on to our reading log. Reading log on page 68. Page 68. So everyone, we are continuing to read The Lonely Hamster. The Lonely Hamster. Page 68. Okay, so everyone listen and please, if you can read it home after me, will be good. One day, a young girl named Maria comes into the pet adoption center with her mother. It is her birthday. She wants a pet. She looks at the fish and the rabbits and the lizards right here. Then she looks in William's cage. Remember William? William was the lonely hamster. Okay, so maybe time has come for William to be adopted. So William lives at the pet adoption center. So he's waiting for someone to adopt him. And if you can read it at home, will be good, guys. Okay, so that was it for our reading log.